Your environment can change your whole entire life. Now, I'm here in London, UK, which is where I've grown up, spent my whole entire life. I've been here for 9 days now. Tomorrow I head back to Dubai for a bit before I head off and travel again. Last few weeks, I've been all over the place across a number of different places across Europe, and it's been a great experience, probably the most amount of travel definitely I've done in recent times. And so it's really made me think about this concept of environment and what it actually means. Just to give you a quick preview of where we're staying, we're in the heart of Canary Wharf, the financial district. Super miserable out here at the moment, but we're staying in one of the suites. It's a pretty big space. I'm just on one half of it right now, and it's been very insightful and, how would I describe it, nostalgic being back here. I think back to when I was 16. It was a dream actually to live in Canary Wharf, and the reason I chose to stay here is because I'm staying right next to the apartment I lived in for 3 years. And making that move to London after growing up in Southeast, it changed everything. And the reason it changed everything is because when I was 16, I remember I had work experience in Canary Wharf. So I was working at Thomson Reuters. I remember just coming out of the train station, and the feeling I had as soon as I could smell the wealth, I could feel the abundance. I was surrounded by people that were just operating at a completely different level. And I knew one day, I said, this is exactly what I want out of life. I want to be in a position where I can be a part of, I can attain wealth. I want to be around people that are helping me to think bigger. I want to be in an environment that feels inspiring, that helps to take me to the next level. And I couldn't get rid of that feeling. And so I set a goalpost, I set a mission from when I was 16, and I said, one day I'm going to live here, I'm going to conquer here, and I'm going to be here to be able to take my life to the next level. And obviously several years later, that's exactly what I did. I lived in a penthouse in one of the new builds here in Canary Wharf, and making that move categorically changed my life. And the reason behind that is that I was surrounded by neighbors that were doing incredible things. Every single time I came out my apartment, I was around heavy hitters. I was around people that were absolutely crushing it. And so that environment bred a completely new version of me. It took me from a place that when I grew up, again in Southeast London, I was born and grew up in Croydon. I could only ever see so much because the people around me had only ever achieved so much. And so the thought of being able to earn beyond 50 or 60K a year, I couldn't see it because no one else around me had ever even gotten to that level, right? And so when you think about yourself as an individual, you need to look at your environment, the people around you, the set of circumstances you're in, and ask yourself, am I somewhere that is going to help to take me to the next level in my life? Not only in terms of your abundance, but the way that you think, the way that you act, the way that you operate. Because this is the fastest growth hack to be able to take everything about your life to the complete next level. And so I can categorically say that at the point that I moved to Canary Wharf, everything started exploding, right? My career started exploding. My health started exploding. The network and relationships and the people I was around completely went to the next level. And it started to make me realize that there was so much more that I could achieve in life. I had so much more potential in me to be able to go and strive and achieve. But that only happened because I chose to change my environment. And then it got to a point after 3 years, I felt a little bit stale. I felt like I needed to get that feeling again. I realized that I needed to take another step to get myself to another level. And that's where the thought process around moving to Dubai came from. Because after visiting 6 times, I knew actually this is a place that even goes to another level, right? Even beyond the experiences I was having in London, I said, it's got to be here, because every single time I went, I said, now these are people operating at a completely different level, right? That can even make, in some cases, London feel pretty small. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of the people here in London, absolutely phenomenal. I absolutely love being back here. Brings back such a rush of emotions. But now, since moving to Dubai in only 1 year, again, everything has gone to the complete next level. My health is much better. Again, wealth has increased significantly. The types of relationships, i.e. the people that I'm networking and interacting with, again, are a step beyond what I was experiencing here in London. So you can see with each move, And each increase in my environment, I was able to take my life to the next level. And so really the message that I'm trying to share here is that you need to get in the mindset of looking at your environment, thinking about the people around you, thinking about the actual physical environment that you're in, thinking about the general thoughts that go through your mind day to day, and ask yourself, can you make a change that is going to help you to unlock a newer version of you, that's going to help you to unlock a completely reinvented version of you that will help you to achieve much, much more from your life. Now, some of you might be sitting there thinking, well, Alex, I'm just not in a position where I could move country, or I'm not in a position where I can make those types of shifts. And that's where the power of just traveling kicks into play. So as I mentioned, I've been in multiple different countries over the last 4 weeks. For the last 9 days, I've been here in London. And this has just been to visit. This has just been to spend a bit of time with some friends, some family, but also just to reconnect with the feeling that I had when I was in London previously. And this is all achievable by traveling, right? This is where you don't necessarily need to make the Herculean step to move, although I would definitely encourage that if you're in a place that you feel you could get more out of. But start traveling more. Start visiting countries and regions where there's affluence. Start visiting countries and regions where there's people that you know are affluent, have achieved incredible things, have great stories that you can share. And this will help you to start to learn more about yourself. This will help you to start to think bigger. This will help you to start to act and operate bigger in every single component of your life. Now, not only that, the other thing that I recommend you do is try and stay at the best possible places that you can, right? And so as long as you can afford it, or you find a way to make yourself to be able to afford it, stay in the suites in some of the best hotels you can find. Try and travel business class or travel first class. At least taste it and experience it for the first time. I remember the first time I went on Emirates first class, I actually ended up shedding a tear, because honestly, I just couldn't believe, and I was just thinking back to being that young man who only dreamed of these experiences, and I've barely ever cried in my life. I'm not a naturally hyper emotive person either, but it really took me to that place, just reflecting on growing up in the way I did and thinking, wow, to have been able to have gotten to this place, I was just filled with so much gratitude. But the first time I did it, it allows you to start to normalize it. You taste it, and then you say, I want more of this. This is what I want more of in my life. And then you start to cultivate more of that in your life, because now you've touched it, you've felt it, you've experienced it. So now I've been Emirates first class multiple times. I travel business class pretty much as a standard. Whenever I travel and I go to hotels, I always stay at the top suites, right? The equivalent of the exec suites or the presidential suites. And I do that everywhere that I go. But I do that to try and set a new standard for myself in my life. The more that I can normalize that, the more you can cultivate and gravitate that. Now, each and every time I do it, I'm filled with gratitude and humility, right? So it's not a case of doing these things and then just thinking about flexing. Half the time I don't post about it. Half the time I don't even talk about it. The mass majority of the experiences I have, no one even knows, right? The first time that I flew and experienced Emirates first class, I never posted about it. The only people I spoke to about it was my mother and a couple of members of close family, because it wasn't about that. It was about what it meant to me internally. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't talk about these things and share them and experience them, but make sure you're doing them for the right reasons in yourself, setting a new standard, a new barometer for yourself that you can always keep within yourself, so that you know, as you're continuing to learn and grow and progress in your life and in your career, you always have now that new standard that allows you to push further, allows you to go further. And if you haven't touched it or experienced these kind of things, then it's very difficult for you to set that new standard, because you don't know what it's like. So I recommend that you take a moment to try and either save up or put yourself in a situation where you can generate more and more cash flow, and then invest in bigger experiences for yourself. Because I can assure you, the moment you taste it, you feel it, and you touch it, you will start to normalize it, and you'll just gravitate more and more of those experiences in your life. And so really the message here is the fact that your environment can fundamentally change your life. And it becomes a choice to start to travel more, to start to live at a higher standard, to start to surround yourself with people who are doing more and experiencing more and will push you to do more, and get yourself in rooms and environments that will also allow you to think, to act, and to operate at a higher level, so that as you continue to grow throughout your life, you're going to be able to accelerate your progression far, far quicker than keeping yourself stuck and stale in mundane routines and mundane environments that you've sat in for the mass majority of your life. So I hope this video helps you in some way. If it does, make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, connect with me on my social media platforms. I'll leave in the description box below, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Until then, keep climbing.